Hey guys, welcome back to Castle Customs. So today on another fun-filled episode of Let's Restore the 91 Convertible, we're going to be putting some fresh new end links in this car. And this is something that, well, to some may seem very difficult, to others they're probably wondering to themselves, why are you doing a video on this? But this video is not for them. I actually had a good friend of mine out in the East reach out to me saying that he was out driving his Fox, I think it's actually mostly stock, and he says he heard this horrific bang and kind of steering felt weird, and anyway, turns out he snapped an end link and he was scratching his head a little bit and maybe a little bit more worried about how involved the job was going to be and if he could tackle it himself. So I thought, well, I'm going to be putting end links on the 91 Vert here because these are actually mismatched. Looks like one might have broke at one point, and I just thought, what the heck, cheap insurance. I think I was like 50 bucks for new end links. I'd change them both out and get a fresh start. So I'm going to get you underneath the car with me here today and show you how to go about changing these, so stay tuned. Alright guys, here we are under the car. So for any of you wondering, this is your sway bar. Comes over and it attaches to these end links right here that go to your lower control arm. Now this end link, I believe, is the one that's been changed, whereas this guy over here still looks to be the stock one to me. At any rate, these are the links we're going to be changing out for these energy suspension ones that are more beefed up. And while I'm at it, these are the mounts that your sway bar mounts to. I'm going to be changing out these rubbers because, as you can see, they've also seen a better day. I couldn't get the energy suspension ones I would have liked to, but they're on back order. Anyway, we're going to deal with these Moog ones. They're better than what's in there, so they'll get us by. Anyway guys, stand by here. I'll start removing this stuff. These nuts, you got to remove the nut on either end. They're a 1/2 inch nut, and then that sway bar end link will pop out of there. We'll probably remove both those nuts on either side, and then we'll pop those out. Alright guys, and just like that we got our end links out. So it doesn't take long to get them out. Here, as I mentioned, I believe this one's stock format. Now this is, I should mention, this is just a sleeve, right, that acts as a bit of a bump between these two washers. But even you can see at the bottom of the sleeve there, like the shaft difference on these is quite drastic. They're a lot stiffer, and these polyurethane bushings are way better than this rubber stuff. So and this is the one that was changed out. I assume this is kind of a beefed up aftermarket, but by no means an energy suspension piece. So a lot stronger part. Really, I don't think you'd ever have to worry about these guys failing on you, but these are the ones that we're going to be dropping in there. They're a locking nut, nylon locking nut, so just an all-around way better part to have in your Foxbody. You shouldn't have to worry about these flying off your car going down the road. And then as far as tightening them in there, I'll maybe talk you through it as I'm doing it, but there is a torque spec I'll try and find for you and put it on the screen. But the reality of these, especially with the nylon nut, is you just don't want to squash the ever-living snot out of these bushings. You want to let the bushing do what it's supposed to do. So tighten it up so that it's just got everything butted up real nice, and that's good. And with that nylon locking nut, you don't have to worry about it backing out on you. So all right, so now that the end links are out, we're gonna go ahead and get rid of these sway bar bushings. We got to loosen them off. Now on the top half here, there's typically, from the factory, there's these Ford, it's a plastic, kind of holds the nuts in place on the other end of these bolts. Chances are they're rotted and cracked on your car, so you're going to need a helping hand to hold the nut from the top side, and back these bolts out. So I'll show you what we're looking at from the top side of the car here. So here you can see I've got my airbox removed just so we can get access to these, but I'll try and point at it with the socket here, or the end of my extension. But that's the bolt or the nut you're trying to get onto. There's one here and there's one here. If you've got air conditioning like this car does, it's a little trickier. You gotta just move this line ever so slightly out of the way, but get yourself, in this case I got a 16 mil on top of that bolt, or that nut, pardon me, and get yourself a little helper, which I got Kaylee helping me here. She's gonna hold the other end of this while I undo these bolts down below. Ready? Ladder. All right, Spud, you ready? Okay, hang tight there. Here, I can probably reach the nut from here. Lift up. Yeah, I got her, buddy. Thanks, pal. Okay, guys, so now we've dropped the sway bar on this half. And what you're looking at here, it's kind of a two-piece steel housing. And what you got to do to get these guys off of here is kind of pry them apart. So see, that gets them loose. But I'll show you on the ground here how these work. But essentially, you get in and pry sideways. And they pop out. There we go. Alright guys, here's a good look at what you're dealing with. So here was the stock bushing. As you can see, it's seen better days, especially in comparison to this new one. So yeah, these ones, I guess they must have been a slide on from the factory, right? So if you dropped your whole sway bar down, you could slide this on from the end. These replacements are designed to, you don't have to remove your whole sway bar. They got this cut in them, so you can just clip them over. And then when you're putting this guy back on, so you can, where's the best angle you can kind of see this at? This guy essentially sits like so. So when you go to put him back in, you start with these longer tabs, slide them in, and then just shove this down. You can see how it spreads apart and flops back into place. So that's going to be what I'm going to be doing here as I get under the car. I'll show you how that all goes back together. I got my apprentice here, Kaylee. She's going to be holding the nuts for me on top. But for starters, we're going to get our new rubber on here, like so. And then we're gonna follow that up by this U-shaped bracket, and then we're gonna throw this guy in there to hold the whole works down. I'm gonna push the whole thing up, slide it up, and I'm gonna run a bolt up. You ready there, Kay? Can you get a nut on it there, bud?
Do you need it really tight? Or just...
Nope, just start it and then we'll get it with the impact. You sure it's on there square? Oh yeah, good job, bud. Okay, can you get that ratchet in there now? And we'll tighten them down. Ready? Alright guys, now it's time for end links. So, here's the way these go. Nut on the bottom, bolt head on the top, okay? So you kind of got to peel them apart to get everything in place here. Now this is a little bit of a juggling act. Yeah, and I should also mention, so essentially this section is what sits in both the sway bar end and your lower A-arm. So they sit in there like that. And similarly with the bottom one, it goes on like so. So anyway, flip this guy over, put him on there. Now we're gonna pull our sway bar down and line it up. Geez, those new bushings are tight. Alright guys, so what I'm going to do here in order to get myself a little bit more movement out of these sway bar end links is I'm going to set my car down on some, pardon the noise, set my car down on my ramps, and that'll in turn bring my sway bar more into the control arm, which will give me the threads that I need to get these end links tightened down. Alright guys, that helped me out. So, sorry, a little tighter tolerances under here, but now you can see everything's a little better lined up. And I can get my nut on these threads here. Alright guys, and then from this point it's just a matter of tightening them down. So I'm gonna use my impact here just to speed things up, but I'm gonna set it on the lowest setting because you don't want to over crank these things. Everything's nice and square, didn't over squash these, and yeah, you're good to go. Here's a quick little look at the other sway bar bushing installed. Alright guys, so there you have it. Sway bar end links in a nutshell. I hope this helps some of you out there that were curious about what's all involved in essentially overhauling your sway bar. Here's what I've done. But the only other thing you could do is change your sway bar out for a stiffer one, but in this case we're rolling with the stock one. Just put new end links and new bushings on it. So I hope this helps you guys. As always, thanks very much for watching, and reach out with any questions or comments you may have. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you're going through this project and there was something I missed, hit me up. I'll get back to you. So thanks a lot guys. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye for now.